no issues. I'm just going to check that everything's okay. Hopefully broadcasting. So I'm just waiting for the page to load just to confirm. It looks as if we are up and running, I hope. Just a bit sluggish on the internet, so sorry about all this. Yeah, it's looking, there we go. So if you can see and hear me, hi Stephen, and off we go. So I'll get rid of this one as well. So we've been looking, I'll just get rid of that. So we're just looking at, well, we've just been dealt a blow there with a Hamburg red card. 18th against 3rd. So that's not looking too good with 13 minutes to go. We've still got the 1-0 covered, but you can't legislate for those red cards. And that's a possible 3-pointer now for Jan Regensburg. Atletico Bilbao and Espanyol should have a second half goals pattern. Hi Dave, hi Colin, nice to see you all. It's strange to see a 0-0 with Atletico Bilbao. I'm not sure if they're involved in the Europa League next week. That could be a reason for the underperformance. So let's have a quick look at the second half scoring more than anything. I do like Atletico Bilbao. They've been excellent this season. Very reliable. But let's just have a look how they're coming into the match. Well, what can you say? Absolutely rock solid. Only 2 0-0s all season. So you'd expect something. They did score second half last away. Scored 2 second half in this one. And scored 1 second half in that away. Did concede to old Joan Jordan. Had a good game yesterday, Joan Jordan, Joe Jordan's wife. And 2 second half goals there as well. So it looks like we have a good argument for an Atletico goal. Espanyol in a good bit of home form. Been very tough to beat in the last 6 at home. So that's probably why it's taking a little while for Atletico to break through. Just looking at the goal times. It's about 50-50 for Espanyol. But there does look to be a bias. But let's have a look. Yes. Could coincide with substitutions. This 61st minute is when Atletico Bilbao start getting busy. So this could be a good one. I'm just got to wait for that to come back. So we're having internet issues at the moment. And this is the remote desktop. Hamburg missed penalty, says Guy. Oh man, it's just one of those, I'm afraid. Sod's law. Just got to wait for this to come back. Hopefully we're still broadcasting. Ah, here we go. Hopefully rebroadcasting. All being well. So please confirm. Looks as if you can still see and hear me there. Hi, Astro Vibes. Nice to see you. So we're just looking, Atletico Bilbao, trying to get to the half-hour mark. So what this would do for me, Well, we're a bit stuck here now, aren't we? Because that red card is keeping the odds up, and Jan Regensburg's odds are even shorter. So I'm still with you. Thank you very much for letting me know, Guy. Appreciate that. So we've got 20 quid here. You can bail out with about a £13 loss, which is a third of liability, if you don't want to take the risk of a 2-0 for Jan Regensburg with that red card in play. But looks like it's just not your day with Hamburg. Just missed a pen. I was going off to Atletico Bilbao just to show you how I would approach the second half, flirting with the 0-0. It worked very well yesterday with the Blades, didn't it? But this is very high at half time. So it does suggest the market was expecting this quiet 0-0. It's very high relative. Normally it's 4 quid. So what I'll do, I'll just sit on this draw now. It's already low. Hopefully we'll get odds on. So it's not a good sign. It is a good sign for the 0-0, isn't it? Because they're expecting this draw to continue. It's not a waterfall straight down. It's very gradual. So I'll sit on this and hope for a 0-0 second half for long enough. Maybe target that 61 minutes before I make an entry. You can see there, 7 goals scored away from home. Could be down to subs, couldn't it, for Atletico Bilbao? They are pretty solid, but again, it's one of those Jan Regensburg Hamburg matches. Relegation threatened against a top 4. Guy says there's another penalty for Hamburg. So, or in the Hamburg match. So that reminds me to get this up. Soccer 24. Just collect your odds on favourites. I've already done a few of these. So had those penalties gone in, could have been out of there with Hamburg. Odds on Hartberg, not Hamburg. That's 41 minutes in. So this is another good method for taking on 0-0s, isn't it, second half? And it's 1-1 to Hamburger. So we're reducing our liability there now. And we're just on for an unlikely win, but it would have been even more beneficial had they got that first penalty in. So a bit disappointing. And they're down to 10 as well, but the motivation for automatic promotion is clear for Hamburger. Jan Regensburg don't tend to score that second goal, but they do have that man advantage. I think I've done all of the odds-ons. You can see there, Liverpool and Wolves, 11 minutes in for a 1.22. Do you expect a goal before half-time? Normally when Wolves are meeting the top 6 under this new manager, it tends to be 3 goals conceded. So you'd be quite warm on Liverpool today. They do have to get back to winning ways after Everton took a point off them in the last match at Goodison. Let's have a look at the shambles that is Hamburg. Selke missed penalty. Thankfully, well, that always has me worried. We had that idiot for Portugal, Porto, Gaston, missing 2 consecutive penalties to get a nice 70 or 80 quid profit there. So I'm not speaking out of my pocket at all. Schalke Karlsruhe, odds on Schalke, already leading 2-1. So nothing much to surprise there. So these are all the odds-ons. Looks like the majority of them have been listed. Udinese odds on at home today. Juve and Inter. It's a bit of a toughie, this one. It's a derby-style match, but I would favour Inter Milan. They just look more consistently good. Palermo Mantova. Why are they odds on at home? Well, we'll see if it's 0-0 at half-time. We'll do a bit of investigation. Eredivisie. Twente already leading 1-0. Ajax. Possibility of going top today with a win, with PSV slipping up pre-Champions League slip-up. So no wonder Ajax will be fancying it today at home to Heracles. Very Greek affair, that one. Excelsior, odds on 1.45 at 3.45. Jagiellonia Baylorstock, odds on, and Whistler Plock at 4 o'clock. This gives us some angles, as I say, 0-0s at half time. You can check them out. You can also check for any surprise scorelines as well. That's one of the main reasons. That would have highlighted the Regensburg lead. Then you'll investigate, have a look at the form. Yes, relegation 6-pointer for this lot, so they could hold on. So do your insurance. And, well, choosing match odds may not be the winner, but that's the beauty of the +1 market. If you fancy holding on to the draw, you'll get lower odds, but you'll get a greater strike rate, won't you, with 2 out of 3 outcomes covered there, rather than just aiming for the single outcome, which would be the Hamburg win. Nuremberg against Ulm, so watch out for your 0-0s as well, coming into the end of matches. Half-time, St. Gallen against Yverdon, for example. You could check this out now at soccerstats.com. Check out the likelihood of a goal second half, then lay over 0.5 goals, and then wait, see if this gets to 0-0 for long enough for you to get a decent short odds lay of that draw. So once I've collected my odds-ons, we can have a look at that one. Turkish Yorkshireman, 1.65 at home today, doing very well. Newly promoted under Nora Batty and the lads from the Tetley Teabags commercials. Having a great run. Iopspor heading to Europe, the Turkish Yorkshireman. There's that goal for Liverpool we're expecting before half-time, but it's come in the 16th minute. I normally try and wait for at least the 20th minute and then back 1-0, 2-0, any unquoted in the half-time score market. Had you done that, I think with Celtic yesterday, you'd have got a 2-0 at half-time, which, that would be 5-6 to 1 return. That pretty decent return on a 1.18 shot. Liverpool 1.22. Likely to score 3 today, as I say. Wolves just can't cope with the top 6. Conceded 3 goals under this new manager. So it's not just a previous manager's form. It's under this new manager. Silkeborg, this is the Danish Superliga beginning. So we have to take these odds as guesswork, really, from the market makers. Silkeborg, well, they're a goal down to Vejle. In-play stats will be a key indicator if you were to play in the opening day of the season. But this is one of our summer leagues, and the Irish Premier Division is up and running as well. Keep an eye on these two because they will serve you well over the summer. Premier League 2, always good for goals. I'm not going to play the ladies' football. Might do it a bit later if it becomes more liquid, because surely you're going to see goals galore in the ladies' football. Not disparaging their amazing goalkeeping standards at all. German Bundesliga 2, I think we've already covered that one. And we just get the peripheral leagues. I'm keeping an eye on the scores as they come in. Nothing of great importance at the moment. Could do with a Hamburg winner, couldn't we? Maccabi Tel Aviv, odds on a bit later on. Do tend to deliver when odds on in Israel. There was a problem with a few matches suspended yesterday, so hopefully we'll be a bit luckier today. Lots of Italian football. We've got the Swedish Cup at the moment. We've got the Norwegian Cup, which has begun last week. So the Norwegian League will be with us soon. I'm just seeing if it's there now. And there's the Turkish Yorkshireman getting a goal. Nora Batty down on her knees on the sideline, celebrating that. The Obos Super Cup. Don't think I'll be playing that one, but it's a precursor to the start of the Elite Serien, which will be dominated by the likes of Bodo Glimt and Molde, you'd think. Porto, I do like Guimarães, but they're playing Braga today. That's a derby-style match, so I wouldn't be focusing too much on that one. But Porto might be worthy if you're up very late this evening. I think that's about it, apart from the Turkish leagues. Get to the tees. Then we'll have collected all of our odds on favourites. the first thing to do, check any nil-nils at half-time. We know there is one in Switzerland, or is it Austria? We'll come back to that one. Djurgården, some familiar names. Gothenburg, the Elf, all familiar Allsvenskan names, but you're skating on thin ice, really, if you're trusting a cup. But it looks as if all of the odds-on favourites are delivering wins to nil today. So you might want to trust that. Again, that was going to be a little tighter than expected, but the red card has changed that. I think we're done. So these all go into the My Games facility here for us to keep an eye on. And we've got that 0-0 at half-time, Hartberg and Klagenfurt. So we can take you through an example of what to look at. But this is a league coming fresh off a winter break. So there's not much to get us interested. But let's have a look. Just want to see if there's been a good second half goals, no 0-0s, that kind of thing. If there's motivation as well for the two teams. Fine Italian dining, fantastic. I'll give that a miss. So recent form, as you can see, it's only one match since the winter break, and that was a 0-0. That's and one match since the winter break for Klagenfurt, that was a 0-0. So that makes this one a very tough nut to crack. Add into that, well, Klagenfurt failing to score in 5 of the last 6 matches. So failing to score in 3 of the last 4 away. Hartberg, 2 consecutive clean sheets, are scoring at home, but that's pre-winter break. But they have been scoring consistently. So it's a bit of a messy one, isn't it, to really look at. But I can take you through, if it's live, how to address this. All the while we're waiting on that 0-0 to continue, it gets shorter and shorter. This rises. We want a nice gap. We want a green here before we even imagine getting involved here. But it's all about when you want to take your profit, if it's going to end in a win, not a score draw. You'll break even if it does end in a draw, in a 0-0, but not in a score draw. So this is so it's liability in this case. So you can get an idea. That's up to 18. So that'll be £11 net. Of course, if you want to do 40, that makes things a little more worthwhile, but your liability then is 14 quid. Imagine if you get an early goal, you're willing to take the hit. That would be 16 quid, wouldn't it, on a £40 stake. So that's one way of doing it. There was a great idea from John H, which I'll have to get to next time. That's using the double chance market. And they're all interlinked, these markets anyway. Double chance is linked to +1. The odds will be exactly the same. And there's another one. Can't remember the name of the market, but it's around here somewhere. So we'll keep an eye on this one. All the time it remains 0-0. We are flirting with that goal coming in, but we're hoping it's going to be a bit sticky for Atletico Bilbao, and then they'll deliver a bit later on. 60 minutes in now. Don't forget, it was a 61st minute onwards, wasn't it, for Atletico Bilbao? Well, Nuremberg have done the job here against Ulm, who needed the points, but the red card scuppered that. We've got a red card, Jan Regensburg, of course. We know all about that, don't we? Looks like we're going to be undone here by a missed penalty. That is very frustrating, isn't it? Had we got that penalty in, that would have been a 1-2 to the 10 men, Hamburg. It is one of those matches, arguably, you could lay that late draw, couldn't you? Because plenty to play for. 3 points for Jan Regensburg could be a season changer, couldn't it? Atletico Bilbao, hopefully, going to be frustrated for a little bit longer. No shots on target yet. It's a good sign for me to get lower odds about laying that draw. How low can I go? That's the question. Silkeborg, odds on favs today. But it's the first day of the season. Silkeborg against Vejle in the Danish Superliga. Only the 1 shot on target. 67 dangerous attacks. Wow. Does that interest you at all? We normally see over 2.5 goals in Beds matches. This is likely the end of the Hamburg match, which is a pity. Missed penalty, and you could have cleaned up there. But there is a goal. And it's gone to Espanyol. So I've missed my opportunity there to lay the draw. But it looks as if we've got an angle in now. So it's all about delaying. I missed that opportunity. So this has disappeared. That's the Achilles heel with this. But we've had some matches yesterday where you get a double return if you can get in at 1.5 to lay that draw. There was a lot of stubborn matches yesterday. Had I done this technique with St. Pauli and Freiburg, for instance, I could have laid that draw there at something as low as 1.4 or even lower. And the return on that would be excellent because you're so late in the match, you're not expecting it to end in a score draw, which would kill us off. But I do think that Espanyol are gettable, even though they're in pretty good form at the moment. So while we are here, there is a possibility, but the insurance is relatively high now because this goal has come in the 64th minute. So interesting. It shouldn't be that high, but the draw is the favourite. So this is the negative with this insurance element now, because you're hoping Espanyol don't score 2 consecutive goals. Laying over 1.5 goals can be very high. You're heading towards 30 quid. Then Bilbao +1 should be very amenable. You'd hope. 2.5. So if you're going to get a net profit out of this, net profit would be about £28 or £30. That's all hoping, of course, that Espanyol don't score the next goal. They are in good unbeaten form, which is a slight negative for taking this one on. But I hope I'm not just skewing the match because I like Atletico Bilbao. Let's see. We did have a quick look, didn't we? I just like them as a solid team. Look where they are in the league as well. Let's have a reminder of the recent form. We know that Espanyol are in recent unbeaten form, but is it score draw itis maybe? Did they score that second goal? We can have a check, I hope. Let's hope I'm not fighting the internet. Bows have scored first against Shamrock Rovers. Shamrock Rovers coming off the back of that win in Europe midweek. I think it was against Molde. Atleti look brilliant, don't they? As we've looked at already. Only a couple of 0-0s. Espanyol, though, as I'd like to remind you, they haven't. They've scored that second goal against Celta Vigo, and they scored that second goal against Valladolid, but came as a winner. So, as a trade, 1-1 would have been fine there. But that got to 2-0 and then 2-1. This is what I'm expecting today. Something like this result, a 2-1 for Atleti. They just look too solid and too consistent. We can have a look challenge table wise where these two are, and you see it's relegation 6-pointer territory for Espanyol. It's probably where they're set up to be tough to beat today. A couple of score draws for Atletico already against the bottom two suggests that they do have trouble coping with strugglers. Just that small section. But there is a both teams to score element. There's a couple of goals up there as well. So +1, or of course, match odds if you're looking, well, if you're looking for that massive Atletico Bilbao win. It's not a big shout of support from the market makers, but it really shouldn't be panic stations. It's 67th minute, so the +1 is probably going to be a little bit more amenable. But just for the example, it's going to be a massive return, isn't it, if they can pull off the win. 186, and also that lay as liability, sorry, would be a decent return as well. So that would give you a small profit on the draw there. You'd add another 30 quid profit to that Atletico Bilbao pot, And if they do pull it off, it'll be a massive return. So you saw it with Besiktas yesterday. If they can get the win in the second half, you're going to make some really good returns. £71 green for Besiktas yesterday. They were a goal down at half time. They scored 2 second half goals, and that was perfect. So let's have a look through. Still not really come alive, Atleti, yet, but it is one of those. You saw it with Regensburg and Hamburg earlier on. Regensburg took a vital point. Can Espanyol get the win? They're in solid home form. So that's a positive for them. But let's just hope it remains 1-0 at best. Silkeborg, up to you if you wanted to play, all based on in-play stats. 70 dangerous attacks to 19 suggests insurance and then a +1, but the insurance is going to be a little bit too high at the moment. So let's have a look. It's very risky taking on first day of the season, but this is going to be a little bit too high. Yeah, it's similar to what you're getting with the Atletico Bilbao match. 20 minutes to go on this one, but you're going to be rewarded in the +1 if you get this right. Be over 3s. Well, it's a liquid, so I don't think it's playable. Don't forget, if this is a liquid, go straight to the match odds and check Vegler's lay odds, because it's exactly the same, should be exactly the same return. But it'd be interesting, this. It would be a good insurance play for me had I got in a little bit earlier. So I would suspect Silkeborg will get that equaliser at least, or we'll get that 0-1 at least. Turkish Yorkshiremen doing a fine job so far, but Kayserispor 17th in the league. Well, they're looking to fight back there. It's a typical Sunday. We're all over the houses, aren't we? Livestream and St Gallen, we didn't look at that as a taking on of a 0-0 second half. I hope you're still okay. Silkeborg love their draws. Yeah, currently losing 1-0. So let's have a look at the Swiss Super League. Livestream and St Gallen, just something for you to try out yourself. See whether you can check if there's going to be goals second half. A few stats and matches for both teams. You only have 2 moves. All right. That's a tricky one, that. I'll have to come back to that one. Right. Let's go immediately to see where these two are. It's panic stations for Livestream. It's 0-0. They've had a 0-0 against 4th at home. They failed to score against 3rd, 4th and 5th. Placed 6th today. And one of those was a 0-0. So there's real trouble for Livestream scoring against the top 9, apart from against 1st and 7th. St Gallen, well, a couple of 1-0 defeats away at 11th and 12th. It does look very contrasting to their form against 8th to 10th away, scoring 2 goals. Doesn't look like one to really spend too much time on, but 73% of goals scored by Livestream, 64% conceded, 2/3 came second half. It's about 50-50 for St Gallen. 5 0-0s half-time at home, only 1 at full-time. 3 0-0s half-time away, none at full-time. So that's a good play. But now we've got a red card for St Gallen. So that could open the door up, and it would have been good had we laid that 0-0 at half-time. Laid over 0.5 goals at half-time, because this would be warming up nicely with a red card for St Gallen against second bottom. Good chance for them to get back on track. Atletico Bilbao still not started moving yet. It's going to be difficult at this stage of the season when a side has a lead and they are at the wrong end of the table and they're putting together such a solid run to get out of danger. It's going to be... Right, that just disconnected and reconnected again, as you can see. So I hope things are okay. So if you could just let me know if things are okay. Because I just lost the connection again. So if you just sign in, there we go. You've just seen that there. Yeah, everything's okay. Okay. It just OBS went and came back again. Thanks for that. So let's just have a look through. 76 dangerous attacks for Silkeborg. All day long, wouldn't you be looking for that equaliser or a winner on the opening day of the season? 8 corners to 0, 76 dangerous attacks. Up to you if you wanted to play. Let's see whether Riverdon Sport can take advantage of the 10 men. Hartberg and Austria Klagenfurt. No strong opinions with those two, whose only matches after the winter break were both 0-0. So not much to report at the moment. I'll just clean up a bit of this while we're waiting for goals to come in. So very quiet at the moment. Croatian HNL 1 League, well, 2.2 the favourite, 5th against 6th. Pools and odds on today. Got quite a few odds on favourites. Slovan Liberec, well, just a touch of evens about them in the Czech 1 League, worth following. So let's get rid of the ladies' football. Premier League still remains 1-0. I would expect 3 goals of Liverpool today, as I say. No angles in, really, apart from a Wolves opener or a 0-0 after 20 minutes or so. Should be a comfortable afternoon for Liverpool. Wolves just can't handle the top 6 or 7 under this new manager, just consistently failing. English Super League for women and the friendlies as well. French League got a lead. Montpellier got that couple of wins recently, which have helped boost them, particularly that win against Monaco. Very much against what the market was expecting and we all were expecting. Werder Bremen already an early goal against the Hoff, as you'd expect in that game. But again, it would have been a 20-minute wait to see if it would remain 0-0. It's a tough match to call, but Werder Bremen could take advantage of a Hoff who are struggling to stay away from that relegation zone. There's that opening goal. It will come. It's a tough match to predict, this one. And there we go, 2-0 for Liverpool. As I say, we're expecting 3+ goals from them today. Montpellier have equalised. Relegation threatened Montpellier. Can they pull off another giant killing like they did against Monaco? Serie A, 0-0. Monza and Lecce. Udinese, odds on, have the lead against Empoli. Serie B, well, we'll pay attention to the league positions more than anything. Cosenza, desperate need for points. Failed to draw in the last 4, which means that 0-0 could be gettable. Frosinone and Regina. Frosinone, desperate need for points themselves. So that'll be worth keeping an eye on as well. It's a typical Sunday, isn't it? We're all over the place. It's only a smattering of elites at the moment. Extra Classo, we'll have a quick look there. No, nothing interesting. I thought Lodz 2.35. And there's the Atletico Bilbao equaliser, 78th minute. Now imagine, had you gone match odds there, you'll be sitting on a very appealing green screen, wouldn't you? So it's all about risk. You'll get a greater reward with the least amount of time remaining. Look at the odds from that 10.5 all the way down just for that single goal. So if you did go match odds, you will be very excited at the moment. You could have got as high as 20s. Wow. You could always think about drip backing, couldn't you? A quid here, a quid there. Wait for that zoom down. If it's at the right time. That lay of Espanyol at odds on, look at that. That's gone up to 8.2. So a very decent. And that's only a 78th minute goal. So it's you're getting a decent enough return here. But don't forget, we've got a bit to take off. Got about 30 quid, didn't we? It cost us a lot of insurance. That's probably why going here would have been a lot nicer, wouldn't it? You still have a little loss on the draw, but now you've got a decent amount of time for a side you know have been in good goal scoring form to get that second. So that's worked out rather nicely. That would be about 16 or 17 quid, which just for that single goal at the right time is adding to the pot. It's a very equal match though, shots on, shots off and corners, but the only difference is the dangerous attacks. So good stuff from Atleti. Probably one for a 106, 109, lay the draw, because 3 points is going to change, or could change one of these two seasons, couldn't it? Champions League footy for Bilbao. Silkeborg, again, this will be a perfect insurance play had you got in right at the 0-1 on the 50th minute. But it's a typical opening day conundrum, isn't it? Are Vejle really going to pull off the shock against Silkeborg, who are going to be vying with Copenhagen at the top? Solid stuff from Levadiakos. We can get rid of them. There we go. Turkish Yorkshireman surviving. But Compo and Clegg on the sidelines are going spare with this 1-0. Tighten the ship. Wow, it's exciting stuff. Alan Titchmarsh going crazy. 79th minute, Levante and Sporting Gijón. Near enough to a promotion playoff place, perhaps, for this draw to be vulnerable late on. Last 0-0 was against Cadiz, and Sporting Gijón did get a 0-0 recently, which is a negative when you take on the 0-0. But if we get the start of some momentum late on, then we could see 3 crucial points which could help move up towards the promotion playoff places. Yverdon Sport, St Gallen. Well, there is a reaction from Yverdon Sport in the 68th minute. Now, if you did get that 0-0 at half time, you'd be sitting on a decent configured match. You've got the red card in play, you've got the good reaction. You've got a bit of a dodge pot, second from bottom, so that 0-0 could remain. And all the while, the draw odds are getting lower and lower and lower, even despite the red card. So it would be a really nicely configured match for taking that 0-0 on late on with insurance. Hartberg and Klagenfurt as well, not too keen on this one, based on their recent 0-0s coming off the back of the winter break. Lots, well, they look pretty good, don't they? 6 shots on, 4 off, 5 corners. 53rd minute, 2.35 the favourite. Don't know enough about these two. We can get rid of the Liverpool match. Easy pickings. You could see that coming from a mile away, given Wolves' woeful form against the top 8 under this manager. Empoli, 17th in the league, will be keen to keep this at 1-0 for as long as possible. Monza and Lecce. Well, we can have a quick look at this 0-0. 20th against 14th. Plenty to motivate these two. Is this another? Well, we can just quickly do that now. The Monza Lecce play, because if it is 0-0 at half time, we'd have just caught that 0-0 at a decent price to lay. So Monza and Lecce laying over 0.5 goals just to win 20. So 0.5 not 1.5. So it's relatively high, isn't it? So I'll take that now and then sit on it. Hope that this becomes a long, drawn-out 0-0 second half. So let's just wait for this 0-0 or this draw to drop even further. So the fact that you'll get to gauge these, the fact that it's 2.48, it's below threes, suggests the market thinks we could get more out of this draw. It's really low relative to some of the other matches which are 0-0 at half time. So we've got some legs there. We can have a look. Monza and Lecce. Get used to checking out your 0-0s and also go to the Soccer 24. Now, what on earth am I going to do here? Because that's boiling. So you'd have to get rid of that key, wouldn't you, to boil that? I'll come back to you on that one. Answers on a postcard, please. Monza and Lecce. Motivation-wise, 3 points are required. That's one of the 0-0s for relegation threatened Frosinone, but it's not gone their way. Well, we're not seeing many 0-0s, are we? For Monza, only one in the opening day of the season. Just the 1-1-0 recently, so that came first half. The last 0-0 was away, and that saw two Genoa second half goals, 61st and 84th minute. A recent 0-0 for Lecce, but a good win against Parma. Pierotti with two away goals. So they can pull it off. Two away goals again. So I think this will be a relegation 6-pointer, 20th against 15th. And that does look quite compelling in Lecce's favour, doesn't it? So you're going to expect this defensive tightness from Monza. Should expect them to eventually capitulate to this, shouldn't you? This is the usefulness of the challenge table. Where do Lecce's wins turn up all of a sudden? In a small cluster at the bottom. So they should be favoured on that. Well, they do concede heavily second half, Lecce themselves. But both sides are frugal in front of goal. That's the only negative. But it's a positive for us to take that 0-0 on. Hopefully we'll get lower odds about the lay of 0-0. And then we'll get the need for points turning up. They're a bit too near the relegation zone, Lecce, for their own good. So hopefully we can get a 0-0 for a while and then a goal at a good enough time for us to get a nice low odds, low risk, low liability lay of that draw. Frosinone Reggiana. Well, 2.4 the favourite. Need for points, but let's not get too carried away unless there's a really strong angle. Normally the under-21s in the Premier League too tend to produce goals. As you can see there, 4 of the last 5 head-to-heads, albeit some of them from 2017. Not good goal stats at the top there, 60%, 60%, 60%. That's not the best in the world, but 90% over 1.5 goals for these two. 0-0 at half-time. Last head-to-head was a 2-1 Liverpool under-21 win. This could be another one to take the draw on second half, just on the reputation of the league. Werder Bremen and the Hoff haven't got a clue, I'm afraid. Paulsen, second in the league today. I think it was Sparta Prague or Slavia yesterday coming from 2-0 down to get their win. So they'll be delighted with that. Heerenveen have equalised against Pek Zwolle. So it's an interesting set of fixtures today. A lot of secondary stuff, but we'll keep an eye out. At 58th minute, Pek Zwolle Heerenveen equaliser. Again, we can break off, see whether those draws are the norm. It's early enough in the second half to possibly take on even that 1-1. They've put together a couple of decent results recently here in Wien, including beating PSV Eindhoven. So they'll be feeling confident today. Well, full of goals, scoring and conceding recently. Similar story for Pek Zwolle, 3 goals at home on 2 consecutive home matches, including that PSV win. So both of these sides have beaten PSV Eindhoven recently, thanks to that Champions League distraction. But they've scored 3-4-3 there, and a 2-2 and a 3-3 here. So is that draw, that 1-1, gettable? No draw in 11 away. That 1-1 is a draw, as we know. So fascinating. No draw away. No draw against 9th and lower. Try an idea out here, just to take on that half-time play. Might be a little bit too high. 2.5 goals, I think it'll have to be with the 1-1. Is the 2.5 goals big enough for us to, or short enough for us to do something? That's a little high, isn't it? So that's the negative there, but just experimenting. Can we get a decent lower odds about the draw to make this profitable? Is this going to stay 1-1 for long enough? So we'll be looking now at seeing if we can get this draw far lower odds. But it's a big amount to throw away. That's the only negative, isn't it? But it could be something to work with. Need for points, relegation threatened, scoring 3 goals regularly, 2 consecutive score draws, both over 2 goals. So there's possibilities here, certainly, with the Heerenveen match. Let's have a look at those ones which are outside. Grazia and Las Glints, 11th against 7th. No strong opinion here. Union St-Gilloise were involved in European club competition. Odds on at home today to Mechelen. Should be expectant of them. Should expect another goal from Liverpool, at least 3-0, 3-1, any other home score. And just no chance really for Wolves against these top sides, unless they can do something second half, but you're not expecting it on seasonal form. It's a bit of a quiet one at the moment. Lots of lower tier stuff and not too many goals popping in. Yeah, nothing much to look at. Bows against Shamrock. That win midweek might have taken a stuffing out of Shamrock Rovers against Mulder. I think it was a 17-year-old got the goal and he went back to school the next day for Shamrock. Famous win against Mulder. They got the second leg to come up. That could scupper how they perform today. And it's also the start of the season. So it's a match full of unreadability. Shamrock could do with a longish run in Europe. So that second leg with that lead is going to be even more important, because Mulder were very, very strong favourite there. And it was a red card that changed that match completely. St Mirren against Hibs, no strong opinion there. We'll take a walk through our odds-ons. So Hartberg and Klagenfurt. So if you had backed or laid over 0.5 goals at half-time, you'll be sitting on shorter draw odds, ever shorter as each minute progresses. So this could be something to work out well. We've got another pair in a Czech one leg. Odds on favourites, Poulsen especially. Oh, the Turkish Yorkshiremen have conceded late on. The bloke with a Hovis bike is inconsolable. Oh, man. Turkish Yorkshireman. Titchmarsh has gone on the pitch. The stewards are running after Titchmarsh. He's gone absolutely berserk. Any other 0-0s at half-time? Werder Bremen and the half. I thought that was 0-0. I thought that was 1-0 to Werder Bremen early on. So it says 1-0 here, so I'm not sure what's going on with that particular match. Well, it says 1-0 here, so there's obviously a Rick there. So had it been 0-0, you'd have been looking at least a goal before half-time. There's the Austria-Klagenfurt goal, 70th minute. It's all about your entry point if you do these 0-0s at half-time. How long am I going to sit on it? How greedy do I want to become? The lowest I've got, I think so far, is about 1.48. And then we've got the goal. It's happened twice, Olympiacos and Sheffield United. So that doubles your money. You can lay that draw at 1.48 with insurance. So it's very appealing. So no other 0-0s at the moment that I can see. Yes. Again, that should be 1-1, shouldn't it? Yeah, indeed. Nico Williams coming on. It's a very solid side, Atletico Bilbao. How important will a win be for these two? Add 2 points to this, takes it to 26. This is a little bit too close to the relegation zone as things stand. Atletico Bilbao. Another 2 points takes them to 47. They'll be interested in keeping Villarreal, especially away from that Champions League berth. So a win would be very nice. But I'll take the 1-1. So just be careful of your scores at Soccer 24 because they're not accurate. This is a 0-0 indeed. Again, had you laid that over 0.5 goals at half-time in an odds-on favourite match, you'd be sitting on a nice looking match here. When do you enter the market? You'd be getting near to 1.4 or lower now, wouldn't you? The red card in play, there is possibilities of a goal arriving. So that's a nicely configured lay the 0-0 with insurance play, that one. And this, well, just based on the reputation of the Premier League too, for over 2.5 goals, that would surely have a chance of at least a goal second half. Not going to be playing the Swedish Cup though. So that's the odds-ons. So we've got another possible strategy to work, and that is that 0-0 at half-time. That was, as you know, Champions League. But we did lay Utrecht late on. You could have got 1.24 at its lowest last night. That was before or just after my Besiktas play. Thanks to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's side getting the win second half. Looks like the Hoff are looking for an equaliser. It's a very, very tough match to trust Werder Bremen and the Hoff. Hoff are in desperate stakes, worst they've been in many a year. So I think we can get rid of this one now. Got the draw. And there's the equaliser for the Hoff. There you go. The in-play stats, very accurate indeed. 76 attacking pressure index. And up comes the goal. That's probably, yep. So Werder Bremen odds on today. Had it been the other way round, I think that would have been a good play, wouldn't it? Take on the Hoffenheim lead. Turkish Yorkshireman. Well, looks like you're going to be done by a side who desperately need points, Kayserispor. Top 4. Ayopspor, fantastic performance from them. Newly promoted and all. Iverdon Sport are knocking on the door. This is why that insurance is so helpful. Let's have a quick look. Did I do this one or did I do Hartberg? Let's have a quick look. Just got to remember the spelling. Hartberg and Klagenfurt. Okay. Hartberg and Austria Klagenfurt. I don't think I did do this one. No, I didn't. What a pity. So the draw currently 3.65. Austria Klagenfurt, are they leading? I'm not sure. Have I got the wrong information? So we'll move on. I think it was this other 0-0, wasn't it, that I was interested in. We'll work our way down. Twente and RKC Valvik. I don't see any shocks appearing there. So I'll take that off the watch list. Gornik, Letzner and Lotz. Again, Polish one leg. Has got us a couple of plays recently. Cosenza, are they going to get that equaliser? They desperately need the points. We'll have to keep an eye on that. You saw it worked very well with Hoffenheim. This looks very similar, but is half-time at the moment. Monza and Lecce will be looking to lay that draw as long as it stays 0-0 for long enough for me to get a decent odds lay. Already starting to get near what you saw for the half for Yverdon Sport. So that might be one. Can they do it late on? Yverdon Sport. We're getting to 1.3 so far. We just wait a little bit longer. They're not the best side in the world, are they? That's why this 0-0 strategy would have worked very well. 11th in the league, second from bottom. So they're not used to taking advantage, are they? As I say, would have been an absolute ideal. Can you imagine having this covered and laying it now? Look at the return, 60 quid. That's an excellent return there on a 1.3 or thereabouts. So it has legs, this, as long as you're willing to lose that lost liability if you get an early goal. Hartberg, Austria Klagenfurt, no strong opinion here. Again, it's not the best selection of matches, is it, at the moment? We've got that 0-0 covered, waiting for the second half there. Udinese, well, the odds-on favourite are delivering, so there's no reason for me to be taking them on at the moment. Score draw experts last season, of course. Frosinone, again, you clutching at straws, expecting 19th to deliver, even though they desperately need the points. And Shamrock Rovers, this is a messy match to trust. Coming off the back of European heroics in the Conference League against Molde. They've got a second leg in the Conference League next week. For a club as small as Shamrock, that's going to be a big deal. So I wouldn't necessarily be looking to take on Bose. It is one of the opening matches of the season as well. We've got nothing to work off. Add in the European element, and it's just a very messy match. Montpellier and Lyon. Let's have a look at this one. Again, it's another draw at half-time. Looks like we've got a bit of a theme today. Let's see if we can attack these draws at half-time. You'd expect with Montpellier the need to get the win like they did against Monaco. Lyon will have Champions League ambitions as well. It's all dependent on their league position at the moment. You can do that quickly, of course. We head off to the live standings. I forgot about the live standings. So Montpellier's Koulibaly keeping them alive here. Lyon clutching onto that Conference League. Another 2 points takes them to 36 and on the cusp of Champions League qualification. So plenty of motivation for Lyon today. Montpellier, well, with 2 points will go up to 18 today, and they will stay on 18 because they'll have a better goal difference if they get the win. So they could move into the relegation playoff place. So that's why you're seeing them really going for it at the moment. So plenty of motivation here. What you could do, again, try it out. Montpellier and Lyon, plenty of motivating factors for these two. What's that? lay of under 2.5 gold. That's about standard. And it will only be to win £20. It's going to cost you about £4 or thereabouts. And then we sit on that draw. Hopefully it will be a nice tight cagey affair with Montpellier not wanting to concede early at all. Hopefully keeping this draw low enough to make it layable enough. For example, now £9.11. Can we get it down to twos or odds on? It's a bit of an ask. This is, again, 1-1. It's incorrect. So just bear that in mind. That's why I'm taking on that draw, 1-1. So those are the matches of interest. Yverdon Sport, knocking on that door. Odds are getting short enough for the lay. Just given the fact that they are second from bottom, do not risk too much dough in this one. Have we missed it? Looks like we've missed it. Lowest point, about 1.19 there. If you saw that, just wait for this to reform. I'm not sure a goal has come in. Haven't been, no, yet. Looks like Yverdon have done it. So that's, but what's that? Illiquid, about 1.19 at its lowest point. So calling them right, but not getting in at the right time. Plenty of motivating factors for second from bottom. And again, it's been a very accurate attacking pressure index today. Bear that in mind with this lot, Slovan Liberec. Can they continue its good run of preceding goals? Saw it with the mighty Hoff. Just seen it there with Yverdon Sport. What about Slovan Liberec against Mlada Boleslav? So this, if we can get another 5 minutes out of this, we might get a nice, decent, low odds lay of that 0-0. I'm just going to have a look at that pitch profit footy, just to give you a reminder. See if you can suss this one out while we're waiting for goals to come in. These are some recent matches. Thanks to Steve Davidson telling us all about this. We've got an idea of what it is. It's backing the 0-0 at half time. We've sussed that bit out. Using Fibonacci staking. 1, 1, 2, 3, 5. So don't forget the double ones. So you add the previous. 1 plus 1 is 2. 2 plus 1 is 3. And off we go. So that's all I've sussed out. The selection strategy, that's your job. See if you can suss that out. Could it be something as easy as the team with the lowest odds, lowest 0-0 at half-time odds? Could it be as easy as that? They're quite high here, 3.754s. Could it be the side with the biggest draw odds, or the lowest draw odds, sorry, in the half-time market? Have a think, and if you can suss it out, let me know. And I'll be adding some more strategies as well that I've bought for you to have a look at. And there's that goal from Lyon. It was coming. And there's that Slovan Liberec goal. So just be careful today. It's looking very accurate. Well, I said get another 5 out of the market. I was being very greedy. So that's 3 on the bounce now. Looks like, I don't know if they've improved the equation that they're using, but it's been very accurate so far. So watch out for my old pal Froz. They might be coming back second half. 3 out of 3 now. So if you did play Slovan Liberec before halftime, well done. Looks as if the Hoff was called correct and Yverdon Sport called correct. So keep an eye on that. You can see with Frosinone beginning the second half stronger. 3 minutes in. It's a tough match to call. 2.4 the favourite. But it is very accurate. Yeah, we called that one right again. But that's the negative. That early goal will kill off your liability. It was a bit of an ask, wasn't it, waiting for that draw to drop with a side on the cusp of Champions League and a side 18th for a reason. They don't win that often. So keep an eye on our old pals Froz here. If that continues, we've just seen 3 out of 3 deliver. Not even at 100 plus on the attacking pressure index. So it's working well today. We're in that little cluster of matches. So we can keep an eye out for it here as well in the main leagues. Las Glintz and Grazza don't have a strong opinion there. We'll get rid of a few of these that we don't want to follow. There's another Danish Super League match about to begin. Odds-on favourite away from home. Again, in-play stats, or preferably don't play at all. And that's the 3-0 for Liverpool FC. I told you. 3-0, 3-1. Any other home score for Liverpool today? It would have been banker material had we got that Wolverhampton opening goal. Well, it looks like Lyon are running away with this one now. The Champions League side, they've got they'll be within a point, won't they, of Champions League football. Another day for Montpellier to get themselves out of the doo-doo. Looks like their Liverpool goal disallowed, and Liverpool under 21s have had a goal disallowed as well. Let me just... Did I do that insurance there for the Nippers? Let's have a look. I didn't. But it's still at 1.2. 52 minutes in, but we would expect that draw to end at some point. This is short enough again, just to experiment with this. But flirting with disaster with Liverpool under 21s just having a goal disallowed in the 46th minute. So you're still getting the same odds you would have got at half time. Let's just hope this is a frustrating 0-0 for long enough. Well, there's another angle. If you're willing to take a half liability hit, you could take £20 insurance out there and lay the draw as it is now. It's up to you. If you're willing to take that small hit for the chance of a decent return, then if you keep plodding away, you're going to pick up enough of those which will produce the profit over the long term. Now, are you going for this attacking pressure index? Frosinone looking to bounce back immediately. It's not a match I have a strong opinion on. But if you wanted to play, the only thing going for them is a relegation dogfight. But it's awful. 1.53 +1. Very decent return if you can get that goal. Or over 1.5 goals. It's getting higher. Over 2.5 goals at 3.7 if you want to look at that from a trading perspective. But if you're going strictly on what we've seen with these attacking pressure indexes, just in that last run of 4, then there's a strong possibility that the Froz could get themselves an equaliser. And they will need it, 19th in the league. Hope you're all okay over on YouTube. Looks like we're still broadcasting okay. So let's get rid of that one. Cosenza, again, 2 shots on 5 off. They look like they're threatening, don't they? Do you trust 20th in the league? That's the problem. Do you trust 19th in the league? They look like they're aiming for that equaliser. You could just pop in and pop out if you wanted to. So have a think how you'd like to do these attacking pressure index. That's what I'm saying, just pop in. And if we can nab a goal quickly enough, then we can get out. So if this perhaps gets to a £5 or £6 loss, or this suddenly drops for Frosinone, we'll buy ourselves a little bit of time, see whether they can convert that pressure into a goal. There we go, 2 goals for Slovan Liberec. So the attacking pressure index working very well today. We're getting a decent run for our money here. It's not even moving. So if we can get Frosinone to turn that pressure into money, that would be very nice indeed. How are they still getting on? 87. But trusting 19th in the league is a bit of an ask, isn't it? So you're just waiting for that window. We saw it come very quickly with Slovan, didn't we? As soon as they hit the top there, 2 quick goals. We saw that with the Hoff. As soon as they hit it, a quick equaliser. It's 1-2 now for the Hoff. Frosinone, how long are we going to give them? Well, they've gone all the way down to 63. So gave them a bit of a run, and now I'm out. That would be an option of trying to grab that winner or that odds movement from the attacking pressure index. Cosenza, another one of those looking like they could get an equaliser. It's a very speculative day today, isn't it? And we're not playing with the big boys, are we really? Not many turned up yet. How would we play this one? Are Stabia's odds short enough? Again, would you like to just pop in? Just pop in for a minute or two, see whether the Cosenza can convert to an equaliser. But again, it's a struggle trusting 20th in the league. They're obviously 20th in the league for a reason. They don't score that many goals either, failing to score in 2 of the last 3. So can they convert this pressure? That's all I'm looking at. So Paulsen leading 0-2. We can get rid of that one now. Odds on. Slovan Liberec, job done if you went before half time. So we're going to get in again. Can they keep this pressure up? Can they convert? This is the problem, trusting 20th in the league. Insurance is another option, of course. 1.45, and you're going to get really good odds if they can equalise. Be around 3s. Look at that. So if you're using your usual £40, that risk return is a lot tastier, isn't it? But you're trusting. Oh, we've got suspenders. It's not the Cosenza match, alas. So I've given them a bit of time. I'll just pop out again. So just that quick window, if they can convert. If they can, then excellent. So let's have a look at our odds-ons. Union St-Gilloise at the moment. Hartberg and Klagenfurt. No strong interest there. No real upsets in the Czech 1 League, and Liverpool, as we expect, should be scoring 3+ goals today with ease. Well, Werder Bremen 1-2 down, not 0-2 down. I don't know what's wrong with this. But, might see the Hoff gettable, but if you look at the live standings, this is going to make a big difference. If they can hold on to the 3 points, they'll be out. Although add another 7 points difference between them and Heidenheim. So it's not dangerous territory just yet. It's very, very close to it for the Hoff. Well, Juve Stabia have made it 2-0 against Cosenza. So that little nibble in and out thankfully didn't cost me 20 quid. That's the problem, trusting 19th in the league. even though they're making 20th in the league. No, they're making all of the right noises. Thankfully, a quick in and out, as the actress said to the bishop, and that hasn't cost us much, but given us a chance to see whether they could surf that move up in momentum. Monza and Lecce, we're getting to the hour mark. We've got that 0-0 covered. We're hoping for a tight Monza performance. Keep that at 0-0 for as long as possible. Stay in the match for as long as possible. See if you can get your Uncle Clive very low odds on the draw. It's £3.75, £4 there at the moment. So we've got a good gap. If you laid the draw now, it's, don't forget, it's that £20 liability minus the insurance. So it's just going to be double your money minus the £6.80, which is relatively high. But that's the Chelsea under-21 goal. It was going to come, wasn't it? Don't forget those leagues. The under-21 leagues, they are very solid for goals. So you could use your, well, you might not need to do the insurance strategy on specific leagues like the professional development and the under-21s, because they tend to deliver plenty. So the draw is flirting with going to odds on now, which is what we want to see. We want to see a nice nervy affair second half for long enough for us to get nice short lay the draw odds. Well, we can get rid of that now. Werder Bremen, well, the Hoff should be layable, really, shouldn't they? But they have deserved this lead, it must be said, at half-time. Union Saint-Gilloise look like Mechelen are giving them a run for their money. Are they involved in European club action, European Cup action next week? That could be the major negative for them. That's not going to show us, is it? No. Not in Belgium. Sonnersky and AGF watching brief, as is the Irish Premier in First Division. They are going to be your summer league, so just keep a track of the results. Just week on week. Notice any early patterns. We're starting to see. We'll start to see the results coming in. You can see there. Oh, this isn't. This is coming back off the winter break, I believe. So they're already 17 matches in. An extended winter break had me thinking at the start of the new season. So it looks like they're already in the winter break. So we've already got form lines. But they have only been playing friendlies since the 1st of December. Sevilla have the opening goal against Real Valladolid. That's not necessarily a surprise. So I don't really want to do anything with that. Juve Stabia went as high as 3-0 against Cosenza, but looks like they're getting plenty of goals conceded. That's the problem we have in trusting. There we go, 2-0 for Juve Stabia. Stabia in Cosenza in the back there. Olympiacos, 20th minute opener for them. Similar odds to Liverpool. I'd have been a little more alive to that, 1.11. 20 minutes in. Have a go, 0-1, 0-2. Any other away score in the half-time score markets. Worked well this weekend, particularly if you've got that Celtic one. 2 goals before half-time. Let's have a look at some of the others here. Nothing really standing out. Well, it's a bit of a quiet session at the moment. I'm sure there'll be some other matches of interest coming up a bit later on. I'll keep this going till about 4, and if we don't get busier, I'll head off to Telegram. Polish Ekstraklasa, Piesklavice, Katowice. Well, 2.7 the favourite, so not too keen on that one. Looks like all of the odds-on favourites are delivering in Greece, so we don't really have any angles in there. 2-0 for Udinese. You weren't expecting them to let home advantage slip today. Portimonenses and Torrenza, 8th against 12th. We'll keep an eye on that, 0-0. St Mirren and Hibs don't have a strong opinion, 9th against 5th. Splitting up soon, isn't it, to Championship group, first and the Conference group, relegation group, one of those leagues. Looks like the Sevilla lead going the way of the market, I think. 4 consecutive defeats for Valladolid. Desperate need for points for them as well. Spanish Secunda. We'll get rid of all of this lot and work our way back up. Lots and lots of lower tier Spanish stuff. And then the Swedish Cup we won't be playing at the moment. Up to you if you did want to play, but I suppose you'll expect the Allsvenskan sides to be giving a competitive match, given they need to put something under their belts pre-season, get some competitive fixtures ready. Basel have been in excellent form of late in the Super League. They are at home to Lausanne Sports. Been a really good trading side to watch as well. So keep an eye on them, particularly coming from behind. They have delivered on a couple of occasions recently, Basel. So got a touch of reliability about them. I think they're top of the league as well. Panathinaikos, job done for them. And Wolves have a goal back against Liverpool. So you're looking at that 3-0, 3-1. Any other home score. That's why you'll cover the 3-1. I would expect Liverpool to get that third. We just have a look at Wolves against the top sides. It is the expectation. Just have a look at the challenge table for Wolves. 3 goals conceded here. 3 goals conceded here. 3 conceded here. All under the new manager. So that will be concerning to him. 3 goals conceded here. Where are this lot? Where are this lot? Where were this lot? Excellent performance against the Arse, but that's more to do with the Champions League Arsenal. And Saka out, I would suspect as well. Great win against Aston Villa, I've got to say. That might just break that hoodoo up there. Aston Villa in 9th. We're talking about the top 7, conceding 3 goals on 3 occasions against the top 7 sides. On the cusp of doing so again today. Could mirror this 3-1 against Chelsea, I would say, in Liverpool's favour. So I wouldn't be panicking just yet if I was a Liverpool fan. So let's catch up. Not much for me to report at the moment, so I might just call it a day at 4 o'clock. Just one of those coupons today we're not getting many trades out of. But at least we've picked the right ones. And we've got out of the right ones as well. Panathinaikos look like they're deserving that lead. So we'll get rid of that. And Ollie, 1.11. We're expecting 3+ goals from them today. Basel, we'll expect a strong performance from them. Another goal in an odds-on favourite match. That'll be AGF Aarhus. So it looks like they're delivering as per the market there on the opening day of the season. So yeah, Liverpool, let's have a look at that Wolves goal. Was it from open play? Was it an own goal? Was it a pen? No, Cunha from open play. Diego Jota, well, Nunes is on and Connor Bradley is on, so they look a bit weaker. Are there any major absentees? Not really. Cody Gakpo, I suppose. That would be a bit of a miss. Mo Salah scoring at 2-1. I would expect that third goal still, but I wouldn't be laying a Liverpool lead at the moment. AGF Aarhus hitting that 100+. Looks like a comfortable afternoon for them. Palermo Mantova is 2-2. So we'll have a look at that one. Palermo and Mantova. Like we did with, who was it yesterday? Leganes. Getting that 3-3. Is there enough motivation for these two, who've both already scored 2 goals, to look for a possible winner? This is the part of the season where you're going to get that motivation, turn draws into wins. Well, conceding 3 goals now, Mantova in the last 2 matches will play right into Palermo's hands if they've got that 3rd goal in them. They look a bit lightweight though. 9th against 16th. Again, where's that 3rd goal for Palermo? Not really seeing it. A couple of 2-2s for Mantova, which we've already reached. In fact, they're getting quite used to these. 4-2 loss, conceding 4 there, conceding 3 there, either side of Palermo. Could give this lot some hope. Where's that 2nd goal at home? We're not seeing it. Motivation, as you can get that from the live standings, can't you? So let's have a look. Mantova at the moment are only a point above the relegation zone. So an extra 2 would break that 30-point barrier, be very, very important for them. And they will be zooming up that table with an extra 2 points. Wow. Could flirt with a top 11 place. So plenty to motivate Mantova. Palermo are on the cusp of promotion playoff places. A win, an extra 2 points would get them into that cushion there. So plenty of interest there, Palermo and Mantova. We won that kind of a Leganes thing yesterday, don't we? The draw is getting even smaller. Monza and Lecce. This is what I like, just to forget the match and then be happily surprised, because if you can get that winner now, that's up to 31 quid. If you can avoid the score draw, it's a possible 24 quid profit there. Red card for Palermo. 71st minute, red card Palermo. I would have preferred a red card Mantova myself, to be a bit more confident of that 2-2 ending. So this is all about a bit of luck now. How low do I want to go? How greedy do I want to become? It's a decent enough return. Let's have a look at the timing of this as well. Monza and Lecce, 74th minute. We don't want the opportunity for a score draw to occur. So it's a bit of a tightrope to walk. But I'll wait for a little bit longer. So let's do our catching up. St Mirren and Hibs, no strong opinion here at all. But good bit of form recently for Hibs. Clean sheets in 3 of the last 4. Don't have a strong opinion. Portimonense and Torrense, just in case these two need points. I'm not really, look a bit mid-table-y to me. Monza and Lecce, still keep that momentum low. When am I going to lay that draw? Only the 2 shots on target for Monza. 2 shots off target for the away side. 1 shot off target for Monza. And 1 corner versus 2 corners. So a very subdued second half. Can I get a little bit more out of this draw? Am I going to pay the price for being too greedy? Down 1.57. I think I might have a go here. I don't want to chance my arm. You're getting to that near that 1.5 barrier, which doubles your money. So we should get the upper 30s here. 34. All we need now is to avoid a score draw. That's all I need for success. Avoid
the score draw. Then we can get rid of the Udinese match. 74th minute, looks like it's job done there. Again, Frosinone, a bit like Cosenza earlier on, trusting 19th and 20th in Serie B. It takes a bit of a stretch, doesn't it? Regardless of what the in-play stats are saying. So I'm probably not going to be playing that one. But they have shown enough, haven't they? Suggest they deserve a little bit out of the match. Well, that draw has ended, and how? Completely run away from Montpellier despite equalising. Are the Hoff gettable? Well, we'll have to wait and see what the half-time team talk does. There's already the opener for Basel, so that's a pity. They've been an excellent trading side. In recent weeks, been really solid coming from behind, so my interest has disappeared from that one, which is a pity. Unison Gilwa fighting back after early dominance from Mechelen, at least from the in-play stats perspective. Are they going to be performing like a 1.61 home favourite? Certainly 0-0 at half-time, could be gettable. Maybe European action has subdued them a bit today. Get rid of a few of these. Easy as you like for the odds-ons in the Czech One League at the moment. Not going to be playing so early, AGF and Sonda, but a deserved, as far as the market's concerned. Reading that one right, 1.65 favourite. We can get rid of that one. Just looking really for that single goal in that Premier League 2 match. Cottbus, Panathinaikos playing like a 1.33 favourite. Ditto Olympiacos, already 2 goals in front at 1.11. That's what we expect. That's why if you can wait 20 minutes, you see you'll be getting amply rewarded in that half-time score market for calling a correct score after 20 minutes with only 25 to go. You do get good odds if you can pick that one up. So it might be a good time to dust off the 20-minute rule for your 1.3s and lower. Tend to be delivering, don't they? Only takes a cluster of them to come in. You're starting to pick up 6, 7, 8 to 1 returns. Can Mantova take advantage of this? This is another problem with trusting sides like 20th in the league, 18th in the league. And Palermo, top 10, so not too shabby. And pre-match 1.65 fav as well. Can Mantova score a 3rd goal? Could make a big difference in their season. Excelsior upcoming. Ajax go top with a win today. Huge motivation for them. With PSV only drawing, I think that's 3 or 4 consecutive draws now for PSV, killing off or trying their best to kill off their title hopes. Got a few odds on favourite goals coming in, as you can hear. So that's the under-21s. Again, delivering goals. Elf against Orgrit. This is in the cup, so I wouldn't be interested necessarily in those. Cluj should be odds on favourite in Romania. 1.53. So an equaliser for Guilherme, but and a red card as well. So we can have a quick look if we've got the stats for the Cluj match. There it is. So we've got a red card in play. When has that red card arrived? 29th minute. So no great reaction from Cluj, really. End of the quick flurry at the end of the first half, but nothing second half yet, apart from a couple of shots off target. Surely this could be one of those draws that you could target, because you're going to get double figures if Cluj score the next goal. You're going to get a really big odds swing. Keep an eye on the Palermo match. Just to get rid of a few of these. Servette, well, far too many draws for these two, isn't it, at the moment, Grasshoppers and Servette. Basel already got the goal, which is a pity. Great trading side. So that's what we've got at the moment. Not the most appealing set of matches. Got some niggles along the way. Samuk Rovers coming off the back of that European adventure. Could be competitive, but they've got another second leg to come up. Frosinone, they're still knocking on that door, aren't they? Are you willing to get rid of or lay Reggiana? Are you going to wait until the odds get even shorter to lay Reggiana in the hope that Frosinone can get a vitally important point? We can have a look at Fros. No, we'll have to look in all matches. Frosinone. Look at the live standings for them. How crucial are 2 points? Let's remind ourselves. 2 points, well, will keep them in the bottom three, but they'll be within a point of Salernitana. And, well, if they can just get a draw, they'll be on 23. That's more realistic. Don't look that reliable, do they? Reggiana with a win all the way up to 31 points from 28. So that's a huge leap up. So that's a motivating factor for them to stay alive at 0-1 Reggiana. Wow. So it's a difficult one. Plenty of motivation from Fros. Reggiana, look at that huge move up the table with just 3 points. So certainly one for a possible very, very late lay. Very short odds, don't forget. Had I, out of interest, had I waited for 1.38, 52 quid. So you really get rewarded for delaying here if you're willing to take the risk and delay. The risk is an early goal before you've laid that draw. So you can see the reward, 52 quid, and it's quite risk-free at the moment. You've got that stake covered. So it's a very nice possible high value or value-full play. Reggiana and Fros 1.24. I'd have to wait for a little bit lower odds to trust Frosinone. Sporadic, you'll have to say. Up, a final push, and then back down again. That's where we got them at the start, up at 83, but they couldn't convert into a goal. Certainly, if they continue this pressure, if Reggiana's odds are low enough, they're layable enough, aren't they? Palermo Montova, I would prefer it the other way round. I prefer a Montova red card with ninth in the league, who logically should be more consistent. Not much second half reaction from Mantova to the red, is there? Coming in the 70th minute, admittedly, but just the one corner. No shot reaction at all for Mantova. So Palermo keeping a lid on this one. As I say, had it been the other way round, I'd been a lot more confident taking on that Desmond. Monza and Lecce, another great example of that 0-0 idea of mine. The longer we wait, the better the potential return. Reggiana, all the while, getting lower and lower. I wouldn't be getting too excited about Frosinone. Well, Unison Gilwa have conceded first. The first thing we need to check whether they've got any upcoming European engagements. Unison Gilwa. Well, they've got a small matter of a 2-0 loss to Ajax on the 13th. This is sandwich weekend. It's the weekend where you've seen yesterday Dortmund losing, Atalanta failing to score, PSG just stumbling to a single goal, Real Madrid drawing, Bellingham red card, Atletico Madrid drawing. Unison Gilwa, are they going to get an upset with the distraction of the second leg up and coming? Because they've got to put a performance in now. in Holland. Mechelen, we'll have a look at the standings, see whether they've got any motivating factor to take advantage of Union St-Gilloise. Plenty to motivate this lot as well, isn't there? Add 3 points to that, up to 49, on the cusp of breaking the 50-point barrier. But they are still in the Championship group, which doesn't guarantee Champions League football, though, does it? This is a squabble Championship and Champions League and Europa League, I think. This is a Conference League here. Mechelen, well, as things stand, they're just above the relegation zone by 2 points. So a vital win, taking them out of the relegation zone if they can hold on. But this is another one of those, do we trust them or don't we? You've seen the curse of the Champions League occur far too often this weekend. So you wouldn't begrudge Mechelen a win here. But the thing is, will they score that second consecutive goal? If you don't think they will, then it's a good play. Quite obviously, the best side are at home, but this is the weekend, sandwich weekend, when these sides underperform. Look at my mates, Froz, 19th in the league. This is the kind of thing you want to see late on. If you can get Reggiana's odds short enough, they're on the cusp of 1.19 now. You could get involved at 1.14, and then our old pals 109, 106. That's be a total of £6 liability. 1.14 to lay Reggiana 23, and sorry, that should be 1.09, shouldn't it? So we'll have to start again. So we've got, that's the 104, 1.09 to win £23, 1.06 to win 32. This gives us the ability to capture the late equaliser. If there is going to be late equaliser, it also keeps our liability low, knowing this is one of the bottom three and they're not exactly trustworthy. I'm just going to tell telegrammers while they're not hearing from me. Good afternoon. Sorry you've not heard from me. I'm doing a live stream at the moment and there's not many opportunities today at all. It's a tough old coupon. But we've got the Atletico Bilbao equaliser. That's a move forward. There's some potential plays late on if you're following the live stream, such as Frosinone equaliser, but then they're 19th in the league. Can we trust them? Werder Bremen odds on favourite at the moment. They're 1-2 down to the Hoff, but they haven't really shown up. No shots on target yet. So I am monitoring the matches and I'll certainly pass on the strongest plays if they come along. It's a muddling Sunday so far. Just to let them know I'm still here. So Union St-Gilloise is a difficult one, isn't it now? Do you trust the Champions League side or don't you? And that's why it's come up here to alert us that an odds on favourite has gone a goal down so we can do our investigating. I'm not going to be doing any soccer stats research. I just know that it's pre-Europa League, pre and post-Europa League, and therefore it could be a sticky wicket for Union St-Gilloise today. Probably be able to see a few of these Champions League sides underperforming. Well, they're not involved, but we did lay Man City 3-0 up. Looks like the Champions League contingent in England behaved themselves yesterday. And laying that draw second half again, that's the negative element of my strategy. We get an early goal. And the corollary of that is, with the Monza match, if it's a concerted 0-0, you've got the chance of making a triple figure return if you get a very, very late goal and if you lay at the right time. Let's have a look. Had we not laid, The draw, what the draw odds would be now, 1.16. Look at the potential return for a late captured goal now, £133.33. And don't forget that £20 is covered already by this. So those of you who can delay the longest will be potentially rewarded the greatest. £142.86. If we get a single goal. Now, the later it remains 0-0, the less likely there is to be two goals, a goal for each side. So any goal is likely to be the winner. So it's a great position to be in. Imagine having that as a risk-free play. Superb stuff. 100 plus quid. 100 plus quid. Amazing. Bromma and Braga. Not going to be playing that 0-0. But all of the odds-on favourites in the Swedish Cup have all delivered over the weekend. And quite comfortably as well. As Juve Stabia have done with a 3-0 lead against Cosenza, putting their dreams of 3 points to bed. Chelsea under 21s as well. 3 goals, yet another overs match in the under 21s. Palermo Mantova, we haven't seen that reaction yet, have we really, from Mantova? Another shot on target, 82nd minute. Plenty of motivating factors though. Scored twice against 11 men. So can they not make the leap that they could do so again? They've actually led 1-2 at one stage as well. So both teams have scored a second half goal. Again, it's one of those 106, 109s if you fancied it. But as I say, I would prefer it with 15th in the league red carded against the top 10. All the while, Monza, can you imagine? We can dream about it. Lay that draw now for 20 quid. 314, £285 if you get a late return. Knowing this is a risk-free punt. Wow. Don't forget, the 0-0 comes in, you break even. What you could even do again, you can get out of this. And we've got a Frosinone equaliser. Come on, the Froz. Did you get involved? I didn't get enough matched. Oh, that's a pity. But watch out for that this season. I think we got involved in the right way, trusting 19th in the league. But now, let's look at the impact of that for the mighty Froz. It's not going to be hugely impactful, but it's going to make more of a difference, of course, than dropping all 3 points. But Reggiana will be worrying now. Look at where they've gone down to. They're just a point above the relegation zone now. Ouch. They were up here living the high life on 31. Now they're all the way back down. This just takes a little bit out of Salernitana, but Frosinone must turn these into 3 points. Otherwise, just collecting the odd point here and there, they're doomed. Particularly with this lot picking up W's, as you can see there. So Tyrrell, saw them yesterday. Hopefully you played that one. Double red-carded Samp and a late winner for Sud Tyrrell. These are what Frosinone will be aiming at, 16th and 17th place realistically. Get themselves a chance of a playoff for the relegation or to stay up. So a draw doesn't really do them. But it's a very nice play, that. If you got matched a little bit more matched than I did, well done. That's a nicely worked play. So I hope you got stuck in there. I hope you're all okay still. Ajax need to win to go top. It's a going day for the Hoff today. Werder Bremen, no shots on target at all. So no wonder the Hoff, desperate need for points them as well. Palermo Mantova, 106, 109 if you fancy that. They've suddenly woken up. But mostly it's shots off target for Mantova at the moment. Monza and Lecce coming to the death. Can Lecce steal 3 points from Monza? Well, they were dominating the late exchange, but likely the clock has caught them out, caught us out, but we break even, which is excellent. Got a chance, had you stayed in a little bit longer, had you delayed a little bit longer, heading up to 250, 300 quid return with a late winner. Ends 0-0. Hey, so what? We gave ourselves a free swing of the bat. So we just had a couple of these waiting on Reggiano, shorter odds. So I got the 1.14 in at least. So this one is absolutely no problem at all. Winner. Insurance winner yet again. Could have made a decent enough return. Not as decent as if you'd delayed and waited. That's perfect 0-0 player, that one. Plenty of motivating factors to get a late winner. Not really trusting the league position. Called it very nicely. Come out of it break even with a chance of winning a decent enough amount. Frosinone do deserve a winner today, don't they? Are you going to lay that draw? Already got the equaliser. Bows and Shamrock. This is a typical sandwich weekend performance. Again, a little bit too much, too late. But so you put this down to that distraction against Mulder. You're leading in the Conference League away from home. So no wonder you were a little bit distracted at the moment. Cluj, can I take advantage of the red card? Might be one to look at if the odds get short enough, of course. Don't worry about that. Worry about that. Cluj should be targeting the win here, surely. We're not getting much value at the moment. 1.6 again, I would have preferred to cover a draw. Can't really do that. It's about even Stevens now, isn't it? Lay overs you'd have to as well at the 1-1. Possibilities here for the delayer. You've seen how delaying can pay or create some extremely good value for you. Knocking on the door, you've seen the attacking pressure index deliver 3 occasions already. So you could, while it's at 89, get in quickly and get out if they don't convert that attacking pressure into a goal. It's a very illiquid market, as you can see here. Not much getting the market moving, and it flirts all the way from 1.55 down to 1.44. No market forces, is there? Look at the gap between the back and the lay odds. So it's there if you want it. Dip in. If they can't convert, get out with a 2 or 3 quid loss, hoping to capture the current momentum. As you can see, 101 attacking pressure index, suggesting they are getting there or thereabouts. Cluj. The only thing that will beat them will be the clock. Unison Gilwa, something to think about second half. Obviously the better side, but it's pre-Europa League. That's the major negative for them. Cluj knocking on the door. Ajax have been red carded. Doesn't mean they're going to lose. Has it been rescinded or not? I'll have to wait for confirmation. Like Real Madrid yesterday, threatening to implode with a chance of going top. Well, Liverpool didn't get their 3 goals, but they got 1 scrubbed off. It was always going to be a comfortable enough afternoon for them. Doesn't look like we've got a red card yet. It has popped up on Football 24 and then doesn't look like it's stuck. So I wouldn't discount them still. 10v11. So we can get rid of that one. Just not showed up, have they, second half? But Cluj, can we get a bit more out of this draw? It's relatively high at 1.44. Can we get a little bit more out of it? They are threatening that late goal. Grasshopper scoring first against Servette. Odds on, were they? No, they weren't. 2.2 away, but again, accurate in-play stats today. Are they accurate with Cluj? How long do you want to delay before laying that draw? You'd see the longer we delayed, we didn't quite get paid off with Frosinone, did we? So that's what you're flirting with. If you're trying to get lower odds to lay that draw, you might miss out the goal appearing. 7 shots on, 12 off. Last shot on target, 84th minute. Lots of secondary pressure, and the attacking pressure index and momentum is rising. Lausanne Sports have equalised against Basel. That might be one to look at again. Possibility of Basel going ahead, but they're not the strongest favourites today in that particular match. Nope, that goal has been disallowed. So as you were there. So we're just waiting on Cluj. See whether you can get even lower odds. It's Chinese water torture waiting for this to drop enough, isn't it? This is the Betfair chart at 1.36. Can we get lower and lower and lower as each minute progresses without a goal? You start off at 1.25. If you wanted to have a £10 liability, you could start looking to win a tenner, moving 1.25 and lower. You could even get that done now if you wanted to drip feed, and if you're willing to take the liability hit, we could start getting it in now. 1.25 to win a tenner, 1.19 to win a tenner, 1.14 to win a tenner, 1.09 you could win 23, and 1.06 you could win 32. As ever, the longer you delay, the lower the risk. If you want to really limit your risk, 109, 106, because you can look at the corollary here. They haven't managed to take advantage since the 29th minute. Is there anything to suggest they can suddenly turn it around with the clock running out? Ajax have got the opening goal against Heracles. Absolutely no surprise. That's what we're expecting today. They will go top with a win. Grasshopper look like they deserve that lead. A lot of draws though, a lot of score draws. Keep an eye on Servette. 4th in the league, it must be pretty handy. So the negative with Cluj, or the reason for you to delay, would be because they haven't made any move since the 29th minute to get a goal or to get the winner. They scored the first goal in the 5th minute. So that is another reason for doing 106, 109. But you're building up a position here, which had you done that with Frosinone, you'd be looking at this kind of a profit when they got their 1-1. So that's the advantage of getting involved earlier. You could capture the goal before it arrives too late. We're getting to the 109 status now. So it'll be a total liability of about a tenner if you're willing to take that. And you can see it's a lot of late bluster, late action, late on, but the clock is ticking, and it's not the greatest league on the planet either. Looks like Palermo Mantova, well, they won't deliver. No great reaction to the red. Similar story for Cluj. We'll see if they can do it. And right, it's Rio Ave goal. Looks like the Hoffa delivering. They need to. Union St Gilloise, second half will be beginning, but it's a difficult match to unpack because we've got that European curse, don't we? Which Union St Gilloise turns up? Can they score that next goal? Can they keep Mechelen to a single goal? Are they going to sacrifice today's performance for the possibility of a better performance against Ajax in the second leg next week? Lots of questions need answering. So tricky on paper. It's a bit like the Middlesbrough match yesterday. Similar odds and with a similar poor stats profile for the first half. But Middlesbrough did only keep it to 0-1. So if you wanted to do an insurance play, I can talk you through it. Not Middlesbrough. That was yesterday. So, as ever, you go down this route, cover the current scoreline, or both teams to score no if you're worried about the 0-2. You're worried about it being pre-Europe. Then you go either Union St Gilloise +1 if it's a big enough gap, which is reasonable enough. That's okay, given it's pre-Europe, and it will cover a 0-2. If you can get that 1-2 after the 0-2, you'd be able to get out with a small loss. So this didn't get matched. So we're going to lay over 1.5 goals. 12-second delay is the slight problem there. That's a decent enough return. Or you can go match odds, and you're going to get very well rewarded, like you were with Besiktas yesterday, if they can win in the second half. You're laying Mechelen at odds on, and you're backing St Gilloise at 4-1. So that's going to be around 90 quid or 100. There we go. 96 with a little bit on the draw. So that's a nice configuration. If we can stick to 0-1, that'll be your maximum loss if it ends a draw. Be about 8 quid with a chance of winning 100. But it's a very risky affair. You know all the casualties this weekend from the Champions League. I don't have to remind you, I hope. Cluj ends 1-1. If they couldn't deliver from the 29th minute onwards, then I think I was being a bit cavalier, expecting them with time running out to deliver. But they did put in a good fist of it at the end. 109, 106 would have really trimmed your liability there, wouldn't it? And still had you set up for the late equaliser. Second half beginning, St Gilloise and Mechelen. It's a tricky one. I don't know what to make of this one. We can check if they're okay pre and post Europe. Let's see if we can get to Union. There we go. Best to do this with soccerway.com, of course, but we can have a look. Either side of a Europa League match. So they got the win against Kortrijk. Against Rangers, got the win either side. And that was away from home as well. Europa League, got the win either side. So you can't say that the curse has really been affecting them, can you? Draw and a win. So they're not really losing either side of a Europa League match. Draw and win. So they don't really have any excuse. Going all the way back here against Roma, draw and win. So they do tend not to lose. So hopefully covering that 0-1 and indeed the pre-match odds will give us an indicator. You can see these odds-ons at home do tend not to cock it up, generally speaking. So Middlesbrough 0-1. From a trading perspective, they don't tend to cock it up. And that's 1.85 there. 1.5 to 1.7 tends to be pretty decent yardstick. The market tends to get it right with them. You see any there? Excelsior 1.48 should be expected to deliver. Jagiellonia 1.7. Let's see how accurate. Vizela 1.6 at 0-0. So they didn't lose. Tend to be a trader's friend at least. Mallorca against Las Palmas, that's going to be an interesting one, 1.7. And 1.65 Turkish Yorkshireman, again, not losing. So we'll see how accurate we are with Union Singilwa. All sorts that can go wrong, particularly with that second leg against Ajax. Eldenza and Deportivo La Coruña. Spanish Secunda. Is this another one we can take on that 0-0 second half? Or just take on a draw second half. Deportivo against Eldenza. Motivating factors. Well, we can check the league position in a sec. Well, when you've got this members only bit here, I tend to go up to this bit, matches, and then work down. They shouldn't really be putting a members thing up when I've got this damn advert thing they're earning money from. So it's not really honest of them, is it? But Deportivo, only 2 defeats since the 24th of November. Far, far better performance than Eldenza, who failed to score in the last 2. Got a 0-0 in the last match, but that's something we can cover. We can cover that Deportivo 0-0 as well. We can hope that these matches will be tight, nervy 0-1s at best. 70th minute, that will do me for a second half goal. 67th to 87th, that will do me as well. If we can just get 65 minutes out of this, failing to score in their last 2 at home. So if we can just get 65 minutes or so out of this, we get a good run for our money. You'd be favouring Deportivo in recent form, wouldn't you? 19th against 12th against, look at that. Clean sheets as well and 0-1s. That's good for taking on that, or for laying over 0.5 goals. I'm hoping this will be nice and tight, but they do concede 2 goals a bit too often, Eldenza, at home. Let's have a look at the goal times. Well, it's about 50-50, but far stronger Deportivo, particularly 10 goals scored in the last half hour away. So we've got more of a chance of Deportivo scoring in the second half. Can we hope for a 0-0 for long enough for us to get the kind of Monza-like odds? Let's have a look. Deportivo, or is it under Coruña? No. Eldenza, surely. Yeah, Eldenza, Deportivo. Okay. So 0.5 goals. Again, that's relatively high, isn't it? You saw, for example, the Chelsea under-21s, that was 1.2, and we quickly got that goal. So 1.36 is giving us a chance that we can get lower odds. And again, compare that to some of the odds we saw earlier, 3.5 at half time. So this in itself is a good sign and a hopeful sign that the market's expecting a lot more out of this draw. Expecting a lot more out of it. It's taking a very long time to get down to here, hasn't it? 45 minutes. So hopefully we'll yield a little bit lower odds for us to lay that draw again. Plenty of motivation for these two, particularly relegation threatened El Denza. 4-0 at half time at home, 2 at full time. So 50-50 in that regard. 50-50 as well for Deportivo. That's again good news for this strategy, isn't it? We want a long enough period of 0-0 to get excited about. Unity and Gilwa, it's a tricky one, isn't it? Pre-Europe, they are the better side. Can they do a Middlesbrough and at least just get us a 0-1 out of this one? I might call it a day soon as we're running out of really good candidates. Reims and Angers, Lens, Strasbourg, a couple of odds-ons in French League 1. Nice, you'd expect to have a comfortable afternoon against Le Havre, who, even though they've got a draw and a win, they're not consistent enough. They're going to be putting up a robust defence at home, but Nice have been set up to be very hard to score against. It looks like I might call this a day soon. As you can see, with lots of secondary tier matches, not much for us to get excited about, but enough for me to look into on Telegram for you. You can see the Spaniards are out and about as usual. 3-0 to Olympiacos, easy as you like. So I think I'll wind things up now. Fenerbahce about to kick off for the special one. Again, pre-Europe, aren't they? So we'll keep an eye on that one. So I'll call it a day. These are on the watch list. You've already got an idea of what we're looking at. Potential to lay that draw as late as possible. Potential Unity and Gilwa equaliser, but a dangerous play. And keep an eye on Excelsior between 1.5 and 1.7 at home. Is this a 0-0 again to be gettable second half? So thanks a lot for coming along. It's a bit more abridged now, not much for us to get interested about. Thanks a lot for coming along. I'll see members on Telegram in a few seconds. Thanks very much.